everybody who rides a motorcycle should afford themselves the opportunity to master the art of crashing. Hopefully you go through that whole process when you're a kid, because you wiped out on your skateboards, you learn not to plant your teeth into the curb. You wiped out on your bicycles, you learn not to do the splits and land on the handlebars. You learn not to put your fingers in the chain and the sprockets when you're wiping out, because you wreck all the time. You know what it feels like when you go too fast and your back end washes out, or you know, you get a wheelie too high and it goes over backwards. And you learn to mitigate the injuries by responding like Spider-Man when you see the stuff starting to unfold. Well, once you get that learning curve under your belt and you graduate up through maybe motocross bikes and dirt bikes and stuff, you get better and better, because you crash all the time doing those kind of things. But when you get on the street, you don't have time for that learning curve. How many times can you dump a street bike and walk away from that without broken bones or a destroyed bike? You know? And I mean, you're busy enough when you're riding to always be looking for you know, crazy drivers, or look off behind me over here, the cop sitting there wants to write you a ticket and stuff. They're everywhere. And so you got your head full of all kinds of stuff. But when something goes wrong, all that goes away, and you have that super high definition slow-mo moment where you're like, oh my God, and you got to move fast to avoid landing in the worst possible configuration and breaking bones and getting your bike ending up on top of you, or you know, maybe even jump and dismount the bike so you can avoid the tree. Who knows? But those are decisions you have to make, and you got to be like Spider-Man. You learn that when you're young, and you learn the what I call the art of crashing, and it's important. So if you're going to learn to ride later in life, start on a mini bike, dirt bike, little 100, 125. Go out and play in wet grass and let it and drop it a few times. Learn how to recover from a slide. Learn how to, you know, try to save it when you start to do an endo, or just whatever. Practice doing the things that will likely end up in you crashing, because when you get on the street, you don't have the time to learn all that stuff, or you certainly don't want to endure that learning curve on the street, because concrete and guardrails and trees and semis and steamrollers are not very forgiving. So just a tip, if you're going to learn to ride later in life, start easy and get on something and go play somewhere where you can crash a lot and not get hurt.